Welcome to Coffee and Candor. This is Amber.
Chris.
Ross.
And Brandy.
And I guess we're going to start off by talking about, what was it called?
Unlocked.
Unlocked.
Or locked up?
No, it's Unlocked,
Okay.
a jail experiment on Netflix.
And it was an experiment on the jail in, was it North Little Rock?
No,
Pulaski
it's
County.
Pulaski County.
Detention Center.
Regional Detention
And
Center.
the whole point of it was, instead of the, and they're not police officers, correctional officers being in the block with them and watching what they do all the time, they took them out completely, and they had cameras in there so they could watch them, but wanted the inmates to become a community and work through issues together to become a unit and see how the experiment went.
And the way the unit was before doing this 6-week experiment.
Oh yeah, that was awful.
Was 23 and 1, meaning they spent 23 hours in their cell and had 1 hour that they could mix.
I mean, everybody's going to be angry as hell if they have to spend.
Well, yeah.
I mean that's a good way to drive someone crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what they talked about a little bit, is like they would have 23 hours for that tension and everything to build up, and then an hour to come out.
And so,
Yeah, that's
I mean,
I understand that they're in jail. I get it.
And that they need to be secure.
But 23 hours
I don't see
a
how
day?
that can be healthy for anybody.
No.
And if you've already got someone, because what I gathered from a lot of these guys' stories, I mean, some of them were fucking punks, but a lot of them were people that, if you ask me, never had a chance,
Yeah.
And so they were never taught to deal with their feelings and emotions in a healthy way. They probably, had all kinds of trauma and abuse.
So that whole idea of dealing with your emotions in a healthy way is something that hasn't gotten widespread attention until about the last 10 years.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Because when we were growing up.
But the other thing too is, I think back when we were kids, you had more of the 2-parent home kind of thing. And just growing up, you kind of got some of that as you grew up.
I'm going to have to call bullshit on that because I grew up back in the day in a 2-parent home, and we would have been way better off if my mom was a single mom. Abso-fucking-lutely.
Well, I grew up in a 0.5 parent home.
Yeah.
So my dad wasn't there and my mom worked 12 hours a day.
Yeah.
And I grew up with my grandparents, and my pop was on the road most of the time all week. He'd come home late at night, shower, she'd fix his lunch for the next day, and he'd be out the door again.
Yeah.
So the idea of showing any emotion to begin with was this foreign thing, and then
especially for males,
right? And then there was the whole, children are supposed to be seen, not heard.
Yeah, that's how we were raised.
Yeah. And then
my grandma was part of the silent generation, so.
Yeah, and then when people acted out, it's like, oh my God, we don't understand what the problem is. I don't know. Maybe because there's no fucking coping skills at all, other than what you have been able to figure out from playing with your friends and shit.
Yeah.
No.
Hold it in until you explode.
Mental health, even 20 years ago, was not the topic that it is now.
No.
And, most of these kids...
The only talk about mental health was people in, an insane asylum. That was anything mental, that's what that was.
Right, like that was your picture, people, straitjacket drooling on themselves, That's what we had as our picture of, how you dealt with mental health.
Yeah.
And so, a lot of these kids, they grew up in these neighborhoods and they just, so they'd never, and then so they're already angry, they're traumatized, and they do dumb, bad stuff.
Well, and I've said this for years. I think most of the shit happens in the summer because here in Arkansas,
the heat.
If you're not from the South, you don't understand this. The heat
Everybody's
and the
angry.
humidity, but combined, it will drive people crazy.
Well,
it makes people angry.
Yeah,
It makes
I
me
mean,
angry.
especially-
I am just a pissed off motherfucker when the
Yeah.
sun's up in the summer because
not even that. When it's 11 o'clock at night and it's fucking 85, 90 degrees
and muggy as fuck. You can
and
like cut it
100%
with
humidity.
a soup spoon and,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it is.
I mean, because at that point, nobody do anything right.
Well, and like everything is so much harder.
I mean, even
because it takes
breathing.
more energy just to breathe, and then you've got the goddamned infernal bugs, and
Oh,
so
Jesus,
so now you can't breathe. You're hot.
You got blood loss from the mosquitoes.
You feel like you're dying. Yeah, and now you itch like a motherfucker. And yeah, come at me, bro.
Yeah,
and so
even now the sun makes me itch.
I'm
Like,
allergic
if
to
I
the
stand
sun.
in the
I
sun-
get hives if
Yeah.
I'm in the sun too much.
Well, I think it's the UV.
Or whatever.
Which
it
I mean,
is.
I know it comes from the sun, but
Right.
But I don't think it's the photons. I think it's the ultraviolet rays.
Yeah. But yeah, it makes my skin break out. It hurts. It itches.
it makes me
sick. And but yeah, I mean, so a lot of these guys, a lot of them really kind of got under my skin. Yeah, there were some that you were like, you don't have a snowball's chance.
Well, I think we need to preface this whole discussion with people are still responsible for their actions.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It does not matter what happened, what the situation was. None of that shit matters. You're responsible for your own actions, and these guys are in jail
Yes.
Yeah,
because of what they did. So we're not
Alexis
making
asked
excuses.
me how I felt about the show, and I was like, I liked it. I'm like, you're in jail. Fuck you. You deserve to be there. And I said, then I watch a show like this, and I start getting feelings for people.
Yeah.
Well-
and I feel bad
and
for
like,
them.
I agree. Consequences are consequences, and when you break,
Yeah, actions have them. You know, I mean,
but the playing field is not level. Some of these people, like literally, like you hear them tell their stories, and you're like, God damn, it's no wonder,
Well, and also, and anybody that has ever known me for more than about 10 seconds knows that I don't make excuses for people breaking the law as a blanket statement.
Right.
But I'm beginning to think that maybe that's not a great blanket statement to have just because. Well, no, it's not. Breaking the law is wrong. It's whether you agree with the law or not. That's the law. And on the opposite side of that, it's also a very case-by-case basis, because, yeah, some of those guys are shitheads, and they absolutely deserve to be there. And some of them, while they still deserve to be there, you kind of see where they're coming from,
Well, you kind of see
it's
the
just
evolution of how it happened.
Yeah.
And that doesn't make it right, but it makes it where you can see the progression of events,
Well, maybe I should say it like this. It's easier to see the humanity when you see the case by case
and you
basis.
see their story. They're not just
Yeah.
a statistic.
Yeah, it's not they're not just a number.
They're broken down. The human element.
Yeah.
It's hard to look, and like some of them were fucking babies, y'all.
Well,
they
that's
were
like
younger than
that-
our kids.
That AJ you were talking about,
Yeah.
he was 24 years old. I did not see that coming when they said he was the guy that shot up St.
Yeah.
Vincent's North
Yeah,
and
I mean,
killed
he just
somebody.
had
I was
like
like,
these puppy dog
what?
eyes. Like he hurt my soul, and like I thought that one that they called Mayhem, he got on my damn nerves until
Okay,
he
you're going to have
didn't.
to describe them, because
He
I
was
guess
the
I'm awful
one
with names.
with the big juicy lips, and he had like these
Black
little-
or white?
Black and little buck teeth.
Do you have he's the one
And
with
he-
the,
with
the
the baby
thick
fro.
braids?
Well, he had a baby
okay.
fro part
No,
of
it
the
was
time.
like a little baby fro almost.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's not the
a
guy.
real good looking kid.
I'm gonna have to
I
look 'em up.
was thinking of the guy with the thick braids that.
No.
The only one I can remember his name is because he was my favorite was Randy.
Randy was a mess. True story.
True story.
I liked him too. Like he had good
He's
energy.
from North Little Rock.
Do you know him?
No.
Oh.
The one that got to me most, other than AJ, was
Tiny.
No, no, but Tiny did make me cry at the end. And no, I
Is
thought
that
Okay.
the one that said, "I'm a gangster, so you're
Chris.
not gonna make me, you're
Yeah.
not gonna see me cry"?
Yeah.
Chris, that's Mayhem.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
But what were you saying about
I
him?
think his name's actually Mason. He, I thought he was a punk. But then you start hearing his story. And suddenly those attitudes, start to make a little more sense. And
I mean, it makes me look at, like my childhood easily could have gone into
yeah.
a completely different direction. And even with attitudes I have today are directly,
Yeah.
from my childhood.
That shapes us.
Yeah.
Every one of us. And, we're just, I don't want to say it could have, we're just lucky that we had the things we had and the opportunities we had. And I'm not saying that that's 100% like, it's not that simple, but it makes a difference. When these kids grow up around drugs, they don't, if they have parents, they're rarely around because they're trying to
grow up
so they
around-
raise them fucking
grow up
selves.
around gangs.
Yeah, and the
Because
gang,
the thing is,
gang element was.
you either join a gang or we're going to be,
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
I mean, like that, because that Mayhem kid, whose name was, I think, Mason, he talks a lot about gangs, and that's the part that turned me off in the beginning. But then the more he talked about the gangs, you realized that, again, doesn't make it okay, but he turned to them to have a family. And
I mean, life is like a tree. If you think of it like a tree, I mean, every day there's so many directions, so many paths you can take that are good, that are bad, that can kill you. I mean,
yeah, and at the time it's hard to see where that may, I mean, obviously sitting back you can go, well, he joined a gang so he ended up in jail. But at the time, with the information he had, it brought him belonging. It brought him safety in his neighborhood. It brought, because I think he said at one point, he started doing the criminal activities to provide for his mama and his siblings, and that's not right. But when people are desperate, it just made them. This was something that I hadn't thought a lot about in the years since I've retired. Part of my job, we've talked about my job before, was I worked for the Arkansas State Claims Commission, and we handled inmate claims. And so 2 or 3 or 4 times a year, I would go to the prisons. I've been on death row, and I've toured death row. I saw the West Memphis 3 on death row. I actually worked, with one of the attorneys for the West Memphis 3. And we saw all kinds of cases. Some of them were horrific in their brutality, and then some of them were they just sort of fell into these things because it was a path of least resistance.
Well, one of the guys, I can tell this without telling the name or anything. One of the guys, he comes up, they're doing his hearing, and he had filed a lawsuit.
Well, wait a minute.
Because
You have to understand that in prison, even if it's an item you can have, if you have,
what he was even talking about.
okay, but well, it's the story I'm going to tell, so it is still, even if it's something you can have, if you have too many, it becomes contraband. So if you can have books and you can have 2 books and you have 3 books, now your books are contraband. It's the same with photographs. It's the same with soup packets. It's anything. So when they say,
I remember seeing something about one on those shows about tampons. You can only have a certain amount of tampons.
like if you have too many tampons.
Like how can I have this for a whole week of period? Like,
right. And the reason is because, and they talked about this, that it becomes a form of currency. And so if you have more than you can use. So anyway, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, come on, tell your story.
Go.
The hell, I don't even remember where I was.
Are you going to talk about the one the rodeo one?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you were talking about the other one. Go ahead.
Go.
Oh, fuck me. Anyway, so we had this guy. His was over pictures. You could have up to 5 pictures. And, what? You said you were telling that one.
Okay.
So I'm telling this one.
Mom and Dad are fighting.
I know. So he had more than 5 pictures, and when they shake a cell down, if anything that's over the limit is contraband, they seize it.
They seize anything over the limit, or they seize all of it?
It depends on the guard. Technically, they're only supposed to seize
What's over the limit?
what's over the limit. But a lot of the guards are like, how the fuck am I supposed to decide which picture to stay? So they take them all. And everybody knows I am a bleeding heart. It always bothered me, even though these are bad people.
Okay, maybe that's a better way to say what I was trying to say. Not all of them are bad people. It
Some
seems
of them
like
did bad
a
things.
lot
Bad
of them
choices.
are people who did a bad thing.
Right, but they're not all. And trust me when I tell you, when you visit the prisons, you can see the difference off. Not always.
Well, right. Some people are just bad.
And some people are just manipulative enough to make that line muddy.
Yeah.
But then there are some that you can see that they're just people who were desperate and did a dumb, bad thing. Mm-hmm. And so, but it always bothered me because when you are reduced to all you have in this world is a pair of shower shoes, 1 extra change of clothes, 5 pictures, and a bunch of ramen soups. Those
Sounds like the
things-
military, doesn't it?
It sure the fuck does.
Those things become
That sounds like basic training.
really precious. And so when you take people's property, that's a big deal.
To be fair, we weren't confined 23 hours a day
Right.
in basic training.
And so it always bothered me. This one guy, he's doing this about pictures. And he, y'all destroyed these pictures of my children. And I could never get more pictures of my children because my children are dead.
Oh, wow. Did he kill him?
Yeah, that's the part
Oh.
he didn't tell us. So then the warden goes, wait a minute. Inmate so-and-so is right. His children are deceased. But what he didn't tell you is he, in fact, killed them. So it's disingenuous for him to, be using that to try to manipulate your feelings.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so that was a bad man. And then
Right,
Ross has
right.
a story about a good man that made just a bad choice.
Okay.
One of the guys, and he had filed a suit because he worked the horses on the prison.
Broke the horses.
Okay.
And he got bucked off, broke his arm.
Okay.
Compound.
Oh.
Yeah. Told him it was broke. Oh, you're fine. Went 2 or 3 weeks before he finally got it seen. And at that point, they had to break it, reset it, and all that. Yeah. So, needless to say, they awarded him because that was
That was negligence.
usually, from my experience, what I've heard, Department of Corrections, when they fuck up, they go all in.
They just give everything they got. They just go big or go home.
Go big or go home.
Yeah, it was.
But this guy in the hearing,
Hold on. You have to understand that the Claims Commission had a series of 5 commissioners, and there were 3 that would sit at any one time, and they were like people.
judges almost.
Yeah, they were the judges. I was the court reporter, and they were paid by the state, but sometimes in their real life they were politicians or they were lawyers or prominent businessmen. And so one of the commissioners was from the same area.
As this man.
as this man, and recognized him because he used to work on his parents' farm with their horses.
Okay.
And so, go ahead.
Well, I mean, go ahead.
So he was like, what are you doing here, man?
I know you. You know,
You're a good person. You're better than this. Why are you here? And he was like, well, I just did something real dumb. And he said, what was that? And he's like, I sold drugs to an undercover cop. And he was like, yeah, that's dumb.
That will do it.
Real dumb.
Yep, that'll
100%
count.
of the time.
Yeah. And he was like, man, how much longer are you in for? And he's like, I've got like 6 more months. And he's like, please don't ever let us see you here again. Please go and be the person that I know you are, and don't let this be your life forever. You know, where you don't have your agency and you have to be in a situation where you're subjected to this, because you're better than that. You know, you deserve a better life. I always wonder what happened to him. You know, did he end up back? I hope not, because he had a real sweetness about him you could see. And then there were others that they weren't even, I swear, what would look back at you wasn't even human. There was this one, I'll never forget him. He was the scariest looking human I have ever seen in my life. And he was big and, you know, what you think of as a scary looking guy, you know, big, broad, bulky, but it was his eyes. His eyes were just evil, y'all. He just looked at you like you were prey.
Wow.
He made me so uncomfortable. And I know it wasn't just me, because you understand, I would be closer to these inmates than I am to you right now. And, you know, they'd hand me paperwork and I'd hand them stuff. And you know, nobody really got to, and like when we'd have these hearings, we'd see sometimes 60, 75 prisoners in a day.
Good Lord.
You know, it would.
Boy, y'all was pumping them bitches out quick.
Well, yeah, most of them, you know, there's not. Well, sometimes they'd be real long days too, but you have to understand they try to get them all, you know, because that's something they can do to pass the time.
Well, I mean, if you can pump one out every 10 minutes, that's still a 10-hour day.
Oh yeah,
with no breaks.
Right, and we didn't take breaks, you know, just long enough for me to run to the bathroom or whatever, because the commissioners could pop in and out and go to the bathroom, and there were still 2 on the bench, and so, but I noticed. I got a bad feeling, and I noticed there was this guard that normally he stayed way on the other side. You know, he would just kind of be by the door, and when the prisoners would come in, he'd guide them, you know, and just tell them what to do. But I noticed, because we saw this guy a couple of times, every time he came in the room, that guard would put his body between me and that prisoner.
Wow.
Nobody else did he do that with. And I always wanted to know what the guy was in for, but I was afraid to look. I was like, we're not Googling him because it might really freak me out and I can't do the job now.
Do you remember what his name was? Oh.
No, it's been so long ago. But I can still see his face.
Well, that doesn't help us.
Oh yeah, when I was little, we were going down the road, and it kind of went down this hill, and I can't remember now if it was 1 lane or 2. But the cops had this guy over a trunk, and they were handcuffing him. He was on his stomach. And we had to actually go around the car. So, like, he's right here at my window. And right as we passed, he looked up, and he had these icy blue eyes. And I will never forget those eyes.
When you see that, it's like...
I mean, he scared me.
And, like I said, I would go in locked units with guards and stuff, because they'd take me on tours and
make her sign a piece of paper that was worthless.
Yeah, I had to sign a thing saying that I wouldn't let them use me as a bargaining tool.
Like, I'll give you whatever the hell you want.
Like, I promise you anything. And
wow.
But yeah, you had to sign a piece of paper saying that you wouldn't.
That if you were taken hostage.
Well, it looks like I won't ever be visiting a prison.
That you wouldn't let them use you as a tool.
Oh, why? No.
I'm like, I'll sign this paper, but let me tell you what.
You can use me as a bargaining tool. Don't use me as a fuck doll is what I really like.
And, I mean, I had to make sure, and like I couldn't wear a bra with a wire in it. Mm-hmm. I couldn't. First time, I never thought about it. I had a barrette in my hair. I had to take that down because they could pop that out of my hair and stab somebody with it. You know, just shit you don't even think of in day-to-day life.
Yeah.
You know, never like, well, I'm going to take my barrette out and I'm going to kill a man. But, you know, and yeah, I mean, and I noticed that on this is that it's kind of the same, you know. There's those casual things that we don't think about where, you know, but if they're going to infringe on the prisoner's rights, they're going to do it in a big way. You know, we had one of the cases I sat on back in the day was, okay.
I told you one of my uncles retired from, is it Tucker that's in Pine Bluff? Or Cummins?
That's
Okay,
Cummins,
he
yeah.
retired from Cummins.
We had, this was in the Supermax, and
Which one?
Varner.
Where is that?
Varner is a Supermax unit, and I don't remember. We would go out through England that way. That's all I remember. It's been so long ago.
Like Mariana.
Yeah. And we in the Supermax, that's where they put the problem children from other units
Right.
that like they can't handle, and then your most violent criminals. And so they had a block of isolation cells, what they call the hole, which is solitary. And what they would, you know, sometimes when they would get so violent, they would have to gas them just to get them in and get them cuffed.
Damn.
Right.
But they had ventilation systems that they were supposed to be able to turn on and off between cells. And, you know, so if you were gassing Ross, you didn't get me by mistake.
right.
Well, one time they either didn't close it all the way. I don't know. And the guy next to the guy that they were gassing starts screaming and telling him his eyes are burning. Well, what happened is they didn't shut his vent off, and he was getting it, and he's having a severe allergic reaction.
Oh, no.
Shut up.
You're fine.
We don't want to hear your bitching. He lost his vision
Oh my god.
Oh, wow.
because his eyes got so inflamed, and it was like this severe reaction. And it caused, like, you know, it might not have done it to you, but in his system, it was just, and he was permanently blinded.
Oh, my God.
And
Yeah.
all right, so
We get to the hearing.
yeah, and they say, you know, the commissioners are like, okay, we want to see the tapes. You know, the security surveillance tapes of what happened.
Let me guess. They were conveniently taped over.
Yeah, they were gone.
Wow.
But they don't remember, like, certain names, like, we would just shorthand. We knew these inmates because we dealt with them so much. So 6 months later, we go to do it again.
Wait a minute, because you didn't set that up for the 6 months later. They claimed, Department of Corrections claimed, well, that guy wasn't even in that cell block.
Oh,
He
yeah.
was in an entirely another
Yeah, he
cell
was in a
block.
different unit. He wasn't even in solitary at that point.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
6 months later,
Whole nother case.
we have a whole nother case, and we've asked for the tapes. Would you
and
imagine?
the documentation of who was in what cell block.
And
Alright.
we can hear Guy, because it's a separate thing
Screaming.
happening from when the guy was being gassed. But we can hear the guy next to the guy being gassed screaming about his eyes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so needless to say, they got their ass handed to them on that one.
Good. I hope some people lost their jobs for that.
Yes. Some people did.
Because
and they should have.
They should have been charged with conspiracy. Because that's exactly what that was, tampering with evidence.
Yes.
That's a federal prison.
Yeah.
That means that those tapes are federal property.
Well, and
that means that any investigation is a federal investigation.
And we used to, like, you assume, like, that they get bare minimum medical care. You know, they're not getting, like, specialists and shit. But you assume they're treated in a humane manner. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, we hold our animal control facilities to that standard.
Right.
And I'm not suggesting we shouldn't. But we talked about the guy Ross was talking about where his fucking arm grew back together.
Yeah.
And they had to re-break it. I had people that would get boils and stuff. This guy had a softball-sized boil at the base of his penis.
Oh my God.
And he kept telling them, like, he couldn't even lay comfortably. He couldn't, that's huge.
Yeah.
And, like, angry and infected. It's a wonder he didn't get staph.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. And
or sepsis.
Mm-hmm. And he kept telling them, and they wouldn't take him to sick call. And finally, he broke the utensils that they gave him to eat with, the plastic ones, and did surgery on himself.
Jesus.
He was probably trying to relieve the pressure of that thing.
He was so desperate.
You want to know how that hearing went? He started explaining what he had to do.
And all the commissioners
You
were
win.
males.
You win. We don't need to hear anymore. You're done.
You're done.
You win.
You win. But yeah, he was in so much. Yeah, that hurt.
Yeah.
But in the end, it hurt less than having that huge, angry, throbbing, infected right by his genitals where you have all these nerve endings.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we've gotten way
Oh,
off.
yeah.
Damn.
We started talking about prison medicine, but
Did they say everything? What everybody did on there?
No, they didn't. A lot of them they didn't go into.
The white guy that everybody hated. At the
Do you know
beginning.
who he was?
No.
He managed a wing stop.
Yeah.
He gave me pedo vibes.
Oh, big time.
Yes, he was.
That-
But
I was
did
wondering
look
if they-
him up because he did give me pedo vibes, and I wanted to
Okay,
know.
what was he in for?
His was domestic.
Oh. Well,
But yeah, he managed a wing stop,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
But you know what?
And I was
That
wondering
guy-
if that's why everybody acted
Hated
that
him.
way.
that
Yeah.
guy caused
'Cause-
his own problems
Why?
because he
everybody
was
hated him?
constantly running
He wouldn't
his
shut
mouth
the fuck up.
and
Yeah.
constantly gigging people.
You can't be a mouthy motherfucker and be locked up with a bunch of criminals.
Well,
Nope.
And if you are a mouthy motherfucker, you better be the biggest one.
Yeah.
Did you see what happened to that new guy Weekly?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He would have been fine if he'd have let it go.
Yeah, but he wouldn't shut up.
Yeah,
he caused his own problem too.
Uh-huh. Yep. Well,
Now I thought it was dirty that they 3-on-1 did.
Yeah,
it
no,
was.
that was
No, I don't, and I'm going to tell you why.
Why?
They won on. All right, hold on. For everybody that doesn't know, later on, last couple of episodes, they bring in a couple of new guys. One of them is an old guy named Weekly.
And
they were playing cards.
and I mean, they said he was an OG. That guy, he was like a made man in the mob almost.
Like
Yeah,
he
well-
was either a Crip or a Blood.
Blood.
I
Yeah.
can't remember which
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, blood, because they kept saying blood over and over
okay.
again.
But they were playing cards. One young blood
caught him cheating.
caught him cheating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And called him on it.
And called him on it. So they went in a cell and they had it out. And then that
Oh,
should
you're
have been
right. I forgot they did that.
Yeah.
And then he kept on.
And
Yep.
that should have been the end of it.
You're right.
But then
Yeah.
he wouldn't shut the fuck up.
He still kept on.
So, yeah, he kept on trying to call this kid back out. So to try to de-escalate the situation, a couple of other inmates took the young kid upstairs. The young kid is the one that called him out. They took him upstairs, trying to cool everything down.
And then
But
he gets on the phone
Weekly gets
right
on the
there.
phone right
Right
at the
outside.
stairwell.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the kid
and was running his mouth on the phone.
Uh-huh.
yeah, and then the I think
You're
it's
right.
2 or 3 inmates brought the kid out trying to take him downstairs. Well, they had to walk right past this motherfucker
Which was what he wanted
because he
anyway.
strategically
Exactly.
placed himself right there, and the kid said something and he jumped up, and so they cleared out a cell and Weekly went in, and the kid went in, and 2 more motherfuckers went in, and
worked
they
him
beat
over.
the brakes off of
And
his
what
ass.
the thing was, I think he was the oldest, so he automatically thought he should have been in charge.
Right.
Yeah, so
He
I
should
think
have
you're
been
right.
respected by everybody.
when they was done with Weekly's ass, he couldn't breathe. Mm-hmm. So,
oh yeah, he was making some funny noises.
but-
Oh, I
He-
think they broke his ribs. Is what they did.
Oh yeah, gave him a concussion. And, yeah, talking about I fell off my bunk.
That's what they always say.
Oh yeah, but he did that to himself. If he would have let the first
he
one
did.
go, if they would have initially jumped him
Right,
3-on-1,
you're right.
I would have absolutely agreed with you. That's fucked up. That's wrong. They did 1-on-1, and he wouldn't shut the fuck up and just let it go. He thought that he got done wrong.
Yeah.
And he
That's-
just wasn't going to let it go.
Yeah.
And the thing was, he was actually putting everybody at risk.
Uh-huh.
Because that's the other thing. When you're incarcerated, look, if one person fucks up real bad, everybody pays for
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
everybody does. Yeah.
Yep.
You know, and so they were desperate to shut
I
him
think
the
that's
fuck
a
up.
shitty rule to go by too.
Well, it is, because again, it just makes them angry and resentment.
Because if you have one troublemaker making trouble with one person, everybody gets punished.
Well, and here's the thing. I like the fact that the sheriff, within the confines of
What he could do.
that structure, he tried to remove the people that were causing the problems.
Yes, absolutely.
Rather than just taking it out on everybody.
Yeah.
And I think it helped. I do.
I do. You know, and things that may seem trivial, when you're reduced to that's all you have,
They become very, very important.
yes. Things like phone time or visits or, you know, meal times. When you have so much stripped away, those things gain importance
Yeah.
the more you lose. And so it becomes real fucking serious.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You know, and yeah, I really liked that he tried. Like, I was really impressed because that one white kid with the
I was really impressed at the one kid that
Talking about East Side?
East Side.
East Side.
He's
Because
the one
he pissed me off because he was always running that motherfucking mouth.
Oh, God.
Oh
he's
yeah,
the one
I don't
that-
think Chris
that-
liked him.
Yeah.
Well, is he the one that took the hit for making the hooch?
Yep.
Yeah.
I really respected that.
Oh,
I
I
did
did
too. Afterwards, I was like, okay,
And
that's big.
honestly, did you see some of the I mean, that dude is literally
He was
doing
tattooed.
old school.
He was so talented.
Oh yeah,
that
yeah.
kid,
He can
if
make
and
some money
when
on
he
the
gets out
outside.
of prison, jail, whatever, he needs to go get his damn license and
Yep.
he needs to be a fucking
Because
tattooed artist.
he was
Oh, yeah.
incredible.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
That's the thing with a lot of people. They're like, "Oh, I ain't getting no license. I don't need to do that. It's just they think it's easier to do it the illegal way, and they will always be back in jail because
how'd that work for creative couples?
for what?
That tattoo shop in Ward.
Oh yeah,
But yeah, I mean, I really.
The tattoo shop
had
in
their
Ward
kid
that was
doing
doing
it.
the fucked up
oh
tattoos. and
Jesus,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
But yeah, when he was like, "No, I'm going to own it. I did it." I really respected
yeah,
that.
no,
Yeah.
that
That
was
took some big balls.
yeah, it did.
And I think some of the people that didn't initially like him, that he sort of rubbed the wrong way with his mouth, because he was mouthy AF.
Yeah.
that would
It bought
definitely
him a
be
lot
my
of
problem in prison.
Yeah, oh, it is absolutely mine. I'd be like, oh yeah? Oh yeah? Mm-mm. They'd beat me to death. I'd either be,
Oh, they beat you to death.
Chris
dude.
always says, in another life, I'd have been stoned.
well,
Yeah, not high, stoned,
at
like
the
old
stake.
biblical style.
like,
Burned at the stake.
there
Yeah,
would be only two
Yeah.
options for me in prison. I would be the big bad, running the whole motherfucker.
Nah, you'd be someone's bitch.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I'd be dead. I
Well,
would
then
not.
you'd be dead
I would be dead. They would kill me. Mm-hmm. You know.
because the big bad didn't talk their way into being the big
oh
bad.
no.
If I go out, I'm gonna go out swinging.
And mouthing, running
Yep.
that motherfucking mouth to the end. I would. I mean, I'm like, I don't know. This is who I am. I can only be who I can be. But you know,
I am what I am.
but yeah, I thought, and I so want to know that AJ kid. I so want to know what made him do what he did.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that.
Yeah,
Did
they
he ever
never
say-
Never tell you. No.
No, they never told.
Nope.
I know it was somebody he knew. I remember that
I'm
from
thinking.
when it
Really
came
wanted
out.
that person dead.
Now I'm thinking it was over a girl.
Oh, that's the dumbest
That's
fucking
what I'm
reason
thinking.
to
What
do
a dumb
anything.
thing. Now that he was, 23 years old when he did it, and now he'll never see the light of day again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guarantee she wasn't worth that.
No.
Yeah, and in a few
No,
years,
and they said he got what?
it was
Life plus 15.
Yeah, life plus 15.
Yeah.
Um,
And I,
You know,
at the start of it, Tiny,
Oh, he bugged the shit
you know,
out of
he
me.
he,
that
he
was.
ran his mouth a little bit, not to other people.
He was the one that was like, "Look, I'm a gangster. I ain't gonna cry."
Oh, I like that dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
bugged me at the
But
beginning.
if you remember
Yeah, I
at
ended
the
up
start
liking
of
him.
it, he kind of ran his mouth like he was.
I didn't pick it up till like the 5th episode.
He was kind of a little bit of a badass and all this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and even said something about stabbing people.
Yeah, he stabbed his first person when I think he was
But
12.
he got out.
Well, he had a lot of tears.
So apparently,
Yeah, he did.
whatever he did wasn't that bad because he got out at the end of it.
Well, he was 12, so it would have been a juvenile offense.
Well, no, that was not what he was in for.
That was
now.
not what he was in for.
I mean,
oh no! He got out so he could await trial.
well, he had said at one point that he was being railroaded
Yeah,
or
because
something.
those guys, that's not their final destination.
none of them.
That's
No,
just
yeah.
where they're waiting for trial.
Yeah. And he was talking about he'd been railroaded and, like, I don't know, because they didn't go into great detail. But at the end, when they were doing the recap, he did end up beating those charges.
Yeah.
And that's why he was out.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny though, because at the last scene, I think it was, he said, "I'm a fucking gangster, so you're not gonna see me, so I'm not gonna cry, and if I do, I'm damn sure not gonna let you film it."
Yeah. I thought that was funny, too. You know. And
Okay,
like,
I've got AJ's story up if y'all want to hear it.
okay, I do.
He was arrested for aggravated assault and capital murder of a man called Leighton Delane Whitfield. In September 2022, the then 24-year-old AJ visited his friend Jade Pye at St. Vincent Hospital North in Sherwood. During his visit, he encountered Pye's fiancée, Whitfield, towards whom he harbored ill feelings. AJ thought that the other man had been mistreating Pye. After refusing to plug Whitfield's charger into a socket near him, AJ went into the washroom to text his stepmother, Cynthia Levitt. According to Cinemaholic, the text read, "I should kill this boy right now. I'm standing 2 feet away from him. I've never shown this much restraint in my life." He went back into the room, conversed with the two. However, after allegedly receiving a hostile look from Whitfield, AJ took out a gun, so he had a gun on him. This makes me think that he knew that guy was going to be there, since he had a gun on
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
Maybe the guy is the reason she was in the hospital.
Yeah. AJ took a gun and fired 3 shots at the 21-year-old victim. He then pointed the gun at Pye, but ran away after she pressed the emergency button. After dropping the gun with his father, AJ eventually surrendered to police at a gas station. Yeah, I'm
He
wondering.
could have just left,
He could have just taken him outside and beat the shit out of him.
or beat the
Yeah.
shit out of him there.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, it
that would have
sounded
been a
like
lot
there
less
was
than
kind
life
of a
plus
jealousy
15.
thing going on there
Yeah,
too.
I bet that was
And
over that
then
woman.
that guy may have been mistreating her, and that was, but I bet it was.
But she's like, I love him.
Yeah.
You know.
And he's like, "Why'd you make me do that to you?"
Okay, so I know we're probably running out of time, but that guy, and I can't remember his name. He's got 3 first names, like David Allen.
No. We're doing all of that on another episode.
No, there's not enough time to do an episode on him.
No,
Plus,
not-
this is the next one that's going to go out, isn't it?
I can schedule them however I want.
Okay, we'll talk about it next
We got a
time.
whole list of stuff for another episode, and that's on that list.
Okay.
Well, I want to talk about that Crooks guy. Because he was the
Crooks?
one that had the huge white man with all the tattoos.
Remember, he
Oh, the
shaved
one
his-
that shaved?
Yeah,
And
he
he
shaved his
didn't
beard. He
look the
didn't
same
look like the
hue.
same
Oh,
person.
yeah.
I was looking, I was like, who is this guy?
Yeah, I'm like, who is this guy?
And Chris was like, he shaved.
Excuse me. He did not shave.
Yeah, he
Was-
did.
that was some
Nair
prison-made dilapidatory.
Okay, he had hair removal.
Yeah, and I was shocked that was the same
I
guy.
know. But I really wanted him, like hearing his story across the thing. Like, I really wanted him to
Why
do
the
well.
fuck did he talk so fast? God
Chris
damn,
said
that guy
that the
talks
whole
so
time.
Sound like the motherfucking Micro Machine Man.
Well, he wasn't.
Well, if you noticed throughout most of the thing, like at one point, I think he was sitting outside talking to Randy. I think he's done a lot of meth.
No, he has. He said.
Because dude would be like this the whole time.
Well, you got to
And
be on
he
meth to
wasn't-
understand what the fuck he's saying.
You know he wasn't coming down or anything else because he'd been in there a little while. But he was, he was
That's just
twitchy
his state
as
of
hell.
being now.
Yeah, but he had talked about how he had been he had smoked meth the first time at like 13 years old.
Yeah.
And that he really
But he was able to get into a rehab
Yeah,
facility
that's what I was
in
gonna say. And
Florida, I
With
think.
the help of his
when they
sister.
did
Yeah.
when they changed where they could be out and amongst each other, and he was like counseling some of the others, he really realized, he was like, I've been in here, so I'm clean. And I really realized I really like trying to help people through this.
Yeah.
And so I really wanted him, and he did. He got out, got into a program, and now he's a drug counselor. And I thought that was...
I hope like a year from now
They'll do
they
a
do an
revisit,
update on
yeah.
everybody.
Yeah, I would too. Do you know how much they all got paid for it? $75.
I'm surprised they got anything.
Yeah, I'm surprised they got anything.
Well, they had to give him
Because-
something.
No, they didn't.
Well,
Because they are wards of the state.
yeah. Well, I'm gonna tell you though, $75 in prison money,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
they
Oh,
loaded.
yeah, I'm sure. But yeah, no, they
There's a
didn't
lot of
have. They
ho-hos.
did, well, no, they
you
don't
hear
have.
our
What they
illustrious-
have to pay you is what you agree to.
Did you hear our illustrious governor running her mouth about it? She was acting all pissy
Oh
about it.
God.
No.
Fire of
Oh,
1,000
yes.
suns.
She gets on my nerves. I thought she was gonna be good, and
Yeah,
She's crooked like her fucking daddy.
yeah.
yeah.
Well, what it boils down to
I'm not
is
impressed
she
with
tried
her.
she tried to scold him for doing that because some of those prisoners in there are state prisoners that just don't have room to go into a state prison.
Okay.
It's like a you problem.
And so that's why she tried to act like it was well, you should have consulted my office.
I'd have been like, where does it say that I need to do
She got
that?
left out of it and didn't get the press.
Well, no. What it was she didn't get an opportunity to make more money for her privately owned prison buddies. Because a lot of people don't know this. Just like you have a military industrial complex, there is a prison industrial complex.
Prisons are big business.
What is it? 95, 98% of the prisons in the country are privately owned.
Yeah.
And it is like $200 billion a year business.
I can tell you this: Rose City. There's a certain pawn shop in Rose City.
Uh-huh.
Guy that owns it has become a multi-millionaire. You know what off of?
Crack? I don't know.
Supplying the prisons
With what?
with
Bitches.
everything you can
Contraband.
think of.
Oh.
No. Toilet paper. Supplies.
Oh.
Literally.
Ooh, I need to
Has
do
become
that.
a multi-millionaire off of supplying the prison system with necessities. Yeah.
How?
I
You
don't
get the
know.
contract.
Bid for the contract.
He bid on the contract, got the contract, and he's had it forever.
And they're
has
going to go
gotten
with the lowest bidder.
rich.
But between
I
lowest,
really don't understand how that works.
Lowest
Like the prison
bidder-
can just Amazon over some toilet paper.
right? But between the lowest bidder
Well, but that's just like
and
my old boss used to just go buy shit. I'm that guy now. I purchase stuff. I look for a better price, a better
Yeah.
deal, a better piece of equipment.
Well,
He used to just whatever.
Well, when I was in, because I started off at the VA in shit, wasn't supposed to say where. Anyway, I started off after I got out of the military in the federal government in purchasing,
yeah.
and there are, and I don't know how it is at the state level or the local level, but at the federal level, just because there's a lower price doesn't necessarily mean that's
Yeah,
who
no.
you go with. Because if there's a there's a hierarchy,
Yeah.
right? At the top of the list, service disabled, veteran owned small business.
Yeah.
Below that is, or at least it was in 07, veteran owned small business. Below that are diversity inclusions, woman owned, minority owned, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
We never got to that part. It was always service disabled or veteran owned, unless there was a fucking good reason why we couldn't. And there are some, like Cardinal Health. That's a publicly traded company.
Yeah.
You know, there's several others. All the 3M shit, all of that. But for the things like stuff wouldn't come to me unless it was over like $3,000. Because below that, a clerk can buy that on their purchase card. But if it got to my desk and it was for like office supplies, I didn't need to go. I'm not putting that out for a bid. I'm not calling more than one motherfucker. Yeah. And he was right down there on Pershing.
Yeah.
And he was a service disabled, veteran owned small business. And that, man, I put hundreds of thousands of dollars through that guy's place.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's like 3M, which you just mentioned. I dumped them several years back, and there's a few things I buy from them. But there was a new federal regulation. And 3M, rather than coming up with something that would match that new regulation that we could use, they were just like, screw you. You can go to the next higher stuff. And so I was like, all right then, well, I'm gonna go with this company over here, which was also a big name company, but
right.
They specifically made material to match the new regulation.
Yeah.
So 3M, bye, screw you.
And that's that in that type of situation, we wouldn't be going and looking for a lower bidder. We would go directly to that company.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we had.
You told me some of the prices on like trash cans.
Oh Jesus Christ!
Yeah, no, stupid. Some of them they know.
Like
they can. Well, I tell you what kills me about our IT department. Oh my God. So basically the guy that is my same position on the other side that deals with signals and that kind of thing. They're putting in a whole new system within the city.
They're putting in what?
A whole new system within the city, and I can't talk about a whole lot of it, but let's just say it's a real-time crime center.
Okay.
So
like the Bat Cave.
Yeah. Alfred and everything.
Yeah.
Sweet.
No.
It's under a waterfall.
Go commit a crime in Little Rock or North Little Rock.
We know who the superhero is. Remember that guy?
They can watch you leave the scene of the crime, stop by the grocery store, grab some gas in your car, then go to your house.
If I was going to commit a crime, they would never fucking see it.
Well, I'm telling you, it's getting set up to where it's like, wow.
Big Brother is watching.
I need to do something.
So the guy that's in my same position.
But they still can't catch motherfuckers shooting each other.
He needs a new monitor.
Bullshit.
Well, they hadn't.
Well, once this is in place, maybe they will. That's what I said. They need to do something.
They have. Like this cop got shot. Shit, they had them
within hours.
Well, it was because the cop got shot.
Yeah, because the cop got shot.
No. But it was a regular guy on the street shooting at each other.
Domestic disturbance. 15th and Locust. Like 2 weeks ago?
3, I think.
3 weeks ago? Shot 3 people.
And one of them was a cop.
Yeah. No.
Oh, you're okay. I know what you're. Oh, sorry.
You just got cop on the brain.
No, because I thought he was still talking about the same thing.
No.
I'll fucking kill you.
They had that guy within a couple hours. Literally went back, watched footage, and watched him walk into an abandoned house.
Wow.
But anyway, the guy needs a new monitor. So he gets online. He's pricing monitors. Fucking IT. Oh, no. Don't do that. We'll get it. We'll get the business class. And I'm going,
No. No. Let me tell you something.
IT is making him let them get it.
Yeah, you're goddamn right.
Business class.
Yeah, you know why? So they have a purpose for their job.
Yeah.
As IT, because I am IT as well.
I used to be IT.
Let me tell you what. You as a user, you don't buy a fucking thing. That comes through my office. It's on my inventory. I have to keep track of every piece of IT equipment in the whole fucking facility. Period. Not you. You don't need you. Oh, well, I just bought this printer. Well, you can take that bitch home and come over here and get one from my office. That's how that works. You don't ever buy your own shit. Hell no.
I did. I just bought that big, large format printer too.
You wouldn't if you were my at my facility.
It's as big as this room.
Yeah.
Okay. Actually, no. Our engineer. That's a different thing.
But then if something happens to it, you're responsible for it.
That's a different thing though, because our engineering people, because the people that do your job at where I work are in engineering, and they have one of those printers that's stupid big.
Yeah.
And it's not. See, the thing is, that's not considered IT equipment
Because it's so specialized.
Yeah.
But here's my problem with that. And I get what you're saying, but here's my problem with that. They want to say that like, oh, well, the business class is so much better. Bullshit.
Yeah, I don't know what a business class monitor is.
Not a damn thing. It's no different than any other damn thing.
has a briefcase.
Okay.
There's not a business class monitor.
Of course not.
I told you it has a briefcase.
But I'll tell you what I like.
Wear sensible shoes.
Because I am not IT at a local facility anymore.
Yeah.
I haven't been in like fucking, oh my God, like 11 years. When I need something, I am the head of PC support and say, hey, Lorenzo, I need a whatever. As a matter of fact, I'm going to do it at the end of June when we're done with these migrations and be like, hey, I need a new monitor. Or not a new monitor, I'm sorry, a new laptop.
Oh, I mean,
And he'll say, put in a ticket and send it to this person.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, I do like that because since they got like actually serious about IT, then it's the same way with me. Hey, I need this software upgraded.
Yeah, totally.
I need, whatever they handle.
I hate it because when I was in PC support,
But
in a facility,
sometimes they send the lower tier guy.
well, he's got to learn somehow.
Okay, I get that, but sometimes
Ross has zero patience.
I have that, and sometimes I have like some specialized issues that just blows their fucking mind.
He has a lot of specialized issues.
Shut up. With the software that I use, dumbass.
Well, it sounds like you're using software that's not compatible with the operating system.
It is.
It's probably that the shit hadn't been updated since Windows XP.
It is.
If I had to guess.
Not anymore, no.
But
Well, then you shouldn't have a problem.
But that was a big problem 10 years ago.
Things that still required like outdated dongles. And
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
my
no
God.
shit.
Yeah.
Actually, I use not for work. Well, actually, yeah, for work. I have my administrator credentials are on a USB drive,
Okay.
Yeah, that's not what.
so I
this
have
is.
to have that.
I'm talking a dongle that was manufactured.
No, you have dongles on your computer,
in
don't you?
and I have
1992.
Yeah.
one on my personal computer
did you hear
for
that?
that holds the same type of thing. It holds keys
Hit-
for
yeah.
software.
Did you hear
His was manufactured in 1992.
and it's
Damn.
it's what made the software work.
That's probably why you're having problems with
No,
it,
like I said, I don't anymore.
because that shit's been out of date since 2000.
Yeah.
Like I said,
And not supported,
I don't,
not updated.
I don't
Yeah.
have those problems anymore.
But at the hospital that I used to be assigned to, when I was in PC support, there are certain softwares that are third-party softwares, but they connect with our different shit. I could get into it. Nobody cares except for me. But every year,
It's in knowing's half the battle.
yeah. Every year I'd get a ticket to update these fucking things. So that means I've got to hunt down the one motherfucker in the service that knows what the key is. And the key is like an OS level key. It's like 16 digits long or whatever. Oh my, it was such a pain in the asshole. I hated it. Oh, I don't miss doing that
Well, I'll
shit.
tell you how bad the old software used to be. Whenever we had to upgrade it to a newer version that they build, we had to start from 1
And just
and build it every single
That seems like they have lazy programmers.
They do. And they
because-
did. And that's why we dumped them.
Yeah, because you
even
should've-
though I have probably 30 gigabytes of files built on that software. I was just like, no, I'm done with these idiots.
Yeah,
There comes like a cut point. Like
any reasonable programmer would know that you need an export settings, export an XML file, and then when you load the new shit, import settings.
Yeah.
Import the XML
okay,
file.
y'all started boring me, so I started looking on Facebook, and I came across this meme.
Okay.
It's pretty.
Look, Squirrel.
I know, but this is good stuff right here.
I was taking pictures of Ursula fans, so
Why?
there was a name up there, and I was trying to figure out what it was. It's
when you
Harbor.
lose this,
It's
you
Harbor
lose it.
Breeze.
So, Chris, when you go to name this episode, I want you to contemplate this title: Epic Squirrel Hunt.
Okay, but listen to this. So this dude thought he was going to burn women and made this statement. This is a meme that somebody's shared. I miss the times when women had to wash dishes, cook, clean, and weren't allowed to speak. So a woman comes back and goes, yeah, well, I miss the times when men would go off to war and die there.
Go damn.
He asked for that shit.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, when you started that, I thought you meant actually set on fire. When you said burn women.
Yeah, I did.
I was kind of worried about that too. It's like,
About half a second, I thought,
what is this, the 1600s? What the fuck?
You never know. You never
All
know.
right.
he's one of those, what do you call them?
Inquisitors?
No. The guys that don't have sex because...
Oh, an incel.
Yeah, incel.
He's one of them incels.
Yeah, well, he ain't going to be having sex with any women now.
No, probably not.
Okay,
right.
yeah.
All right,
everybody.
we're out, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.